of yesteryear. Marks, I believe, Chaf Aleph Tishrei, the Hilula of a really great Moroccan rabbi. His name was Rabbi Rafael Berdugo Z'tl. He was born, I believe, in English year 1747. He passed away at, I believe, the time period of 1822, to be precise, on 17th of October, I believe in the 1822. Somewhere else said it was 1821. Be it as may, he was a really great rabbi. He lived approximately 75 years of age. He was one of the great poskim of Morocco, respectively, one of the great rabbis over there. He was a great Kabbalist, he was a Darshan, and he was a famous rabbi from the famous family of the Berdugo dynasty in Morocco, and very much was part of the Kehila in Mecca to become a Dayan, that's a Jewish judge, and Poskei Halacha, render different Torah, Jewish halachic renditions, let's just say, Jewish law renditions, and much can be said within regards to the great rabbi in of itself. So let's explore some of the highlights of the great rabbi. He was known also by the nickname called the Malach or Hamalach, Malach Rafael, the angel Raphael. He came from very great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Chacham Mordechai Berdugo, and his mother was Rabbinit Rachel. I believe the father was known as the Marbitz. I think in the year 1747 in Meknes in Morocco, that's when he was born. He began studying Torah at a high level with his older brother, Chacham Yekutiel Berdugo, who I believe mentioned before in this series. He would learn at night. They would study by the light of the moon, it was reported over, because it was tough times at that stage in time financially in Morocco, so they didn't necessarily have candles or lighting, obviously, as we have in modern day. I believe in the year 1762, when he was 15 years of age, Rabbi Rafael Berdugo's father had passed away, and he continued studying despite the tough economic situation at that point in time. It wasn't very easy, but he learned extremely diligently. And because of this, let's just say toughness, because in that point in time, it wasn't like nowadays where there was so much luxuries and abundance. Those times, I think, in Morocco, it was very tough economically all throughout. So he never forgot his life, let's just say, of poverty. And when he reached adulthood, he stood up for the Jewish poor, for the poor people. He actually stood up for them over there. He often spoke in their praise, lavish praise, giving them and pushing them up in his various different commentaries, which he wrote with regards to the Torah. As also it was reported over as well when they were ruling different public amendments, takanot hakahal, in a generation, the different enactments for the congregation. Rabbi Rafael Berdugo, I believe he got married, and he had many sons, including the sons, if I'm not mistaken, was Chacham Maimon Berdugo, known as the Mevin, and he was the author of the famous Torah book called the Lev Mevin. Rabbi Rafael Berdugo wrote his commentary, I think, on the Talmud. It was called the Sharvit Zahav, I believe in the English year 1771. So he was at that stage in time, he was only 24 years of age. He was appointed the head of the Jewish court, let's say the president of the rabbinic court in Meknes, while he was only in his 30s, which is absolutely astounding. It just showed the genius with regards to the great rabbis, and was considered his generation's foremost, let's say, teacher of Jewish law, halacha, by the Maghreb communities. He was obviously a great community leader in of itself, and was a source of comfort, let's just say, and support. He really helped out the Jews of Maghreb in just all throughout, especially during, God forbid, there was unfortunately epidemics, there was plagues taking place at that point in time, and droughts. Maghreb went through a lot during these specific years, where he was like a rock for the community. Unfortunately, also inside that vicinity itself, there was riots when broke out even between the years 1790 and 1792. And I think that, just as a historical context, actually written over here inside the historical website, that the riots themselves were triggered in 1790 by the death of Muhammad, the Alawi Sultan, and by the subsequent battles, let's say, between his sons over inheritance. The Mulay Yazid, the son, I think, who seized power at that point in time, unfortunately went on a very bad murder rampage. And unfortunately, as there's been anti-Semitism throughout Jewish history, he did this against the Jews of Morocco, and hundreds of Jewish martyrs died terrible deaths. And unfortunately, all these terrible things occurred, and just shows that anti-Semitism was just then, it was in the past. Unfortunately, it's in the present, and let's hope it won't be in the future. And I think there was a famous lamentation by Chacham David Hassin, who happened to be a great poet of that specific period in time, who I think was married to Chacham Rafael Berdugo's sister, was written to memorize those riots that actually took place during those few years. And because he was really, really pious, he was like a great tzaddik and had very ascetic ways, Chacham Rafael Berdugo earned the name Rafael the Angel, Rafael Hamalach Rafael. And I think on the 21st of Tishrei, if I'm not mistaken, the year 1822, I think it was on the eve of Hoshana Rabbah, this is a culmination of the Sukkot festival. I think he had, at that stage in time, completed learning the study of the Idra from the book of the Zohar, and he completed the Tikkun in of itself. Chacham Rafael Berdugo passed away, I believe he was at the age of 75 years old. He was buried in the Jewish cemetery of Meknes. He was. It's actually interesting. Rabbi Rafael Berdugo had many great amendments, let's just say, made and authored various different books in different domains, some of which still remain in manuscript form. His published works include, now we can explore some of the great books that he wrote, because there was a lot of great Torah colossal works that Chacham Rafael wrote in of itself throughout his time period, including the Mishpatim Yesharim, which was based, I think, on the code of Jewish law, the Shulchan Aruch. And I think there was a preface to it, a Hakdama, which was appeared, I think, in song of Rabbi Shmuel Amar, another great rabbi, who was the head of the Jewish court at a stage in time. Then there was a Mei Menuchot, which was Drushot ala Torah. I think this was based on 2 different volumes. Then there was the Shar Bitazav, which we mentioned before, but which is a Perush on the Shas, on the Talmud Bavli in itself. I think it was written when he was 24 years old, well, which we mentioned before. Then the Chesed Ve'emet, which was Drushot, the Hespedim, and then there was the Torah Temet, which is based also, once again, on the code of Jewish law, the Shulchan Aruch. Then there was Rav Peninim, which was very Strashot. Then the Rukach Merakachat, which is Al Agadot Talmud, on the Gemara itself respectively. Then there was a Mesamchei Lev, which was, I think, in 3 Chalakim, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check that. It was Perushim on the Torah, different explanations on Torah. Then there was Lashon Limudim, which was on the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, the Tanakh, respectively. Then there was the Kitzur, Tekanot, Chachmei, Kastila, also, and the Dinei, and the different Dinei, Kamin Hakam Arav, if I'm not mistaken. There was very, very great books, and it really did come from a great family in of itself, very, very great heritage, one of the great rabbis of Morocco during that period of time. Remember, Morocco had a great Jewish community and great Torah community all throughout these different, let's just say, different periods of time, very much so. I believe he was very active within the community, and he wasn't just a Dayan over there, which he was community activist over there. I think he led the Shohatim to abandon old customs and follow the, let's say, the Castilian customs and minhagim in himself. He introduced various different takanot, as we said before, with regards to, for example, laws of inheritance was reported over, and he had many other great robust discussions with very many great rabbonim. I think Rabbi Baruch Toledano would mention him quite a lot in many different scenarios also, and was really one of the great rabbis of Morocco of his day. He was a real inspiration rabbi. And please don't forget to light candles in his memory of the great rabbi. And hopefully we can learn more about them in the future, many, many more great videos. I believe Rabbi Shalom Mashash actually published also some of his publications. We've actually mentioned Rabbi Shalom Mashash in this series on various different occasions. So Chav Aleph Tishrei is the Hilul of Malach Rafael, Rabbi Rafael Berdugo Z'tl. Wishing all a good day. Please subscribe to the channel. We've covered many great rabbis. We're a community here. Like the video, share the videos, and wishing you all well here from Israel. Take care.